All right, on to lesson 3. So we're going to talk about variables and constants in this lesson. Just to do a quick recap, so far you've been directly typing in the piece of data that you want to output, whether that's hello world or printing out a number. You've been saying print, brackets, and then putting the data inside. But when you're coding your real app, oftentimes you're going to need to store information and use that information in multiple places in your app. That's where variables come in. So this is your first piece of technical terminology. And if you don't have a technical background, let me use an analogy that might be easier to understand. So you can think of a variable as a box that you can put data into, and you're going to label that box. Every time you want to use that piece of data, you can just reference that box by its label. So in Swift, when we want to create a variable, or using the analogy, create a box, we use the var keyword followed by a space. And then we put the variable name. So let's just call this hello. The name of the variable, if we follow the analogy, is the label of the box. So var is the keyword that creates the box. Hello is the label that we're putting on the box. So let's take a look at this in action. Before we can use a variable, we first must create it. So that's like saying before we can use the box, we must create the box. In Swift, we use the var keyword followed by a space. This keyword declares a new variable. You can think of it as creating a new variable or creating that box. Following the var keyword, we type in the name of the variable. We're going to be using this name to reference the piece of data. So in the analogy, this variable name is the label that goes on the box. So let's just call it label. And then we use space again, and we use the equal sign. This is called an assignment operator in Swift. And essentially, it takes the piece of data to the right of the equal sign and assigns it to the variable, in this case, named label. So that is like, using our analogy, putting the data on the right-hand side. Let's just type it out. Putting this data into the cardboard box with the label on it. Now, whenever we want to reference this piece of data, we don't need to type it hello world. We can just call it by its label, which in this case is just label. Now you can see hello world. Now, just like a cardboard box where you can remove things and put other things in it, we can do the same thing with our variable. So let me type the word label and use the assignment operator once more. And let's type in hi. Now you'll notice that the second print statement will say hi instead of hello world. And this first one still says hello world because remember, the code is executed from the top down. So here we're creating a variable called label. We're assigning this piece of data into that variable. Here we are printing the contents of that variable, which at that time is hello world. And then it runs this line where we're assigning a different piece of data into that variable. Essentially that overwrites it. And now when we print this, it says hi instead. Notice how I don't have to use the var keyword again because that is for declaring the variable. Because I've already declared it up here, I don't need to redeclare it. I can just use it now. In the previous lessons, you also learned about numerical data, such as integers. You'll notice that if you try to put a number into this variable, you can't. It's going to say you can't assign this type into this variable because once you assign some first piece of data into that variable, it is locked to that type of data. So we could change it to some other text data, but we can't change it to number data. Whereas if I actually started it with a number, so I put 0 into the cardboard box from the get-go, now I can change it to another number. So what if you wanted to use text and numbers? Well, you could create 2 variables. So let's try that. So we're going to say num data. Let's print out the numerical data here. We're going to change the variable name. And let's create a second variable called text data. And we'll call it hello. We're going to want to print out that text data, and we're going to want to change it here too. Actually, this is num data equals 10, and this is text data equals world. And then we're going to actually print out the text data. What do you think is going to happen? We get first 0 and hello, and then we change the data, and then we get 10 and world. So far, so good, right? Let's take a look at what else I am covering in this lesson. All right, next we want to talk about, let's talk about naming variables since we did name them like this. Notice how for the first word, I used a lowercase, but then for the subsequent word, I capitalized the first letter. So this is called camel casing, and it's pretty much the standard when it comes to the Swift programming language. If you stay consistent with naming all of the variables in your project like this, then it's going to look neat and tidy, and it's going to look professional. There's a little bit more about camel casing talk about here. This is even a longer variable name, number of items in cart. So number has a lowercase n, but the rest of the words of items in cart, they all start with a capital letter. That's camel casing. So that's the standard that you want to follow. Now let's talk about constants. They work exactly the same as variables. Using our analogy, the only difference with a constant is that once you put the data in the cardboard box, you are using packing tape and sealing it shut. So you can't remove the data, you can't put data back in. It is what it is once you put it in. In Swift, in practical usage, instead of using the var keyword, if we want to create a constant instead, we use the let keyword. So here we're going to change var to let, and that turns that from a variable into a constant. Now you'll notice we're going to get some errors here because we're trying to replace the data in that box. But because it's a constant, using our analogy, it's sealed tight. You can't do that. And so we're going to get rid of those. Actually, we're going to comment it out because you've learned about comments, right? So we're going to comment this out, and it's going to treat it as just remarks. Now you can see in the output, we get 0 hello and 0 hello, which doesn't surprise me because we didn't actually change what was in these constants. Now, a common question that comes up is, should you use constants or variables? Well, if you're not sure, you should default to using constants. And the reason is because less things can change with a constant, which means when you are trying to troubleshoot a bug, you're trying to figure out what's wrong with your app, there's less things you have to worry about because you know constants can't change. You can rely on that constant being that piece of data. Now, if you declare everything as constants and then you find out later on that, hey, actually, I really would like to change the data in that constant, then no harm done. Change the let to a var instead. And now you can change the data in that variable. So start with constants is my take. Let's go back to the lesson here and let's do the challenge. So here's the challenge. Create a variable called points and start it at 0. And then we're going to simulate a game where the player earns 10 points, loses 3 points, and then earns 7 more. After each change, print out the current score. And at the end, use a constant to store the player's name and then print out a final message. As with all the lessons, I recommend that you pause the video and try it out for yourself because this is where you're really going to identify the gaps in your knowledge. And that is really going to help. So I'm going to walk through the challenge now. So if you really want to do it, pause it. So first of all, I'm going to print out that this is the challenge. And then we are going to declare, should we use variables or constants? Remember, this is a running score total, which means we have to change the value constantly, right? Which means we should use a variable. So we're going to start at 0. And then first we are going to increment it. Well, we don't have to redeclare it. So score equals 10. But notice that by doing this, you are setting the score to 10 instead of increasing it by 10. There's a difference, right? If I had 100 points, I would not want my score set to 10. I would want it to be 110. So the way that you do this is you can say score equals score plus 10. But there's a shorthand way to write this, which is to say score plus equals 10. And that actually increments that number by 10, which is exactly what we want. So actually, let's print out the score when it's 0, and then we print it out after incrementing it by 10. And then just like the increment, you can also decrement it by 3 like that. We're going to print it, and then we are going to score plus equals 7, and then print it out again. And now we have to declare a constant to store the player's name. Okay? And let's print out a final message. So we can use what we learned previous lesson about using commas in the print statements. So we can print out name, comma, scored, comma, score, comma, points. Let's see what that gives us when we run it. Okay, so here's the output for the challenge. Starts at 0, increments by 10, decrements by 3, and then increments by 7, resulting in 14. And here's the sentence: Chris scored 14 points. Now, to dive a little deeper, let's take a look at some of these AI prompts. This one is about asking for real-world scenarios using var or let. And this one actually may go over your head a little bit because we've just been working on Swift in a contained scenario inside the playground. You can try it out. This one is pretty good as well. Explain the practical reasons a beginner should care about using var or let. And then this one is for auditing your code. You can ask the AI to check how you've been using var and let. Just to remind you, here's the AI panel. And also keep in mind that these are just suggestions for using AI to go deeper in your understanding. If at any point in the lesson, and even in the subsequent lesson, if you have a question, bust open this AI panel and just ask it right here. It's really, really useful to be able to get your questions answered instantaneously. It really helps speed up your learning so you don't have to try to remember and backtrack why you had that question in the first place, or in many cases, you forget you had the question at all. So definitely make use of this AI panel to ask questions and to learn from. All right, another productive lesson under your belt. Let's move on.